Hi everybody, Kevin Anderson here, your independent Pampered Chef consultant, wearing my awesome new Pampered Chef apron, and you'll see I'm wearing a hat. I don't know if that's acceptable or not, but I'm going to wear it anyway because I don't want to get any hair in the food. Now, a lot of people are trying to eat healthier these days, and part of that is having a meatless Monday for a lot of people. Now, we don't do meatless Monday in this house, as you can probably tell, but any excuse I have to make Pico de Gallo is a great one. This is basically a condiment or a topper. It's great on burgers, hot dogs, just with corn chips as a snack, tortilla chips, and even if you just want to put some lettuce in a bowl, you can top it with this stuff and it makes a fantastic quick salad. So I'm going to do this using several Pampered Chef products. I've got my 2-liter batter bowl here. I've got a couple of the Pampered Chef 1-cup prep bowls, the citrus press, the chopper, my Pampered Chef large grooved cutting board, and my Pampered Chef 5-inch Santoku knife. So I've kind of gotten a little head start here because I didn't want you guys to have to sit and watch me chop things for, however long it would take. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to show you how the chopper can help you do your tomato, your onion, and your jalapenos, as well as your cilantro. So the first thing we're going to do is the tomato. So all I'm going to do is cut the end off. I'm going to put that in my garbage bowl. Now, for those of you who have never worked with a garbage bowl, I would highly encourage it. I started doing it about 4 years ago. Thanks to Rachel Ray. She was the first person I ever saw use a garbage bowl, and it helps with cleanup tremendously. So go ahead and get yourself a bowl to put all your little scraps in. So what I've done is I've cut the stem end of the tomato off. I'm just going to slice that tomato in half. Now I'm going to grab a spoon and I'm going to scoop out the innards of the tomato, get rid of most of the seeds and pulp. Now, I'm using Roma tomatoes. They're the kind of oblongs. Sometimes they're called Italian tomatoes. And the reason I do that is because they're a lot more meaty and a lot less seedy. So you're getting more bang for your buck with those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my chopper. I'm just going to drop those 2 pieces of tomato in there. I'm going to put the bottom on. This is going to get a little loud because this is a stainless steel prep table. So I'm just going to go ahead and plunge that down until I get the tomatoes to the size that I want them. And we're almost there. And there you go. So if I take that off, I've got nicely chopped up tomatoes. I'm going to add those to my bowl. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the jalapeno. I'm going to cut off this stem end into my garbage bowl. Cut that jalapeno in half. Now, the recipe calls for you to de-seed and de-rib the jalapenos. I'm going to show you what the rib looks like here. And the reason it says that is to get rid of a lot of the excess heat. This little white piece you're seeing in here, that's the rib. That and the seeds are what carry the bulk of the heat in any pepper, okay? So if you like it a little less spicy, go ahead and remove the seed and the ribs. And you can also vary the amount of jalapeno that you put in this. Now, I'm going to put 2 in here because I'm making a double batch. The recipe only calls for 1. And I will post the recipe underneath this video. But I like it at the strength that the recipe calls for. You can add more, you can add less. It's all up to your personal tastes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take those halves and chop them in 4. You can see I did the other one here already. And we're going to load up the chopper. And once again, we're going to plunge until we're happy with the size of the peppers. Give it a little shake to get the stuff that's stuck to the sides or to the top. There we go. Now you'll notice that I cut the peppers a lot more fine than the tomatoes. And that's because I don't want anybody to get a huge piece of jalapeno. The key to making a real good Pico de Gallo is to make sure that every bite has a little bit of everything in it. So I'm going to go ahead and dump those right in. I'm going to scoop out what's on the inside here. Okay. And now we're going to move on to our onion. Again, we're going to use the chopper. All I've done is cut the onion in half. I did half before I started the video, so you're not sitting here for too long. And all I'm going to do now is cut that onion in half widthwise again and into quarters. Okay? Now, if you overload this chopper, you're going to have a really, really hard time. And it's going to take you longer. So what I would suggest you do is put less in, which means you're going to have to do a couple of extra loads in the chopper, but it's going to go much faster because the chopper is not going to be struggling. So let's do our onions. You can see we've got our onion nice and finely chopped. So dump that. And we'll do the other piece. Again, nice and finely chopped into our bowl. Scoop out what was left. Now we're going to do our cilantro. Now the recipe actually calls for half a cup of cilantro, but like I said, I'm doing a double batch. So what I'm going to do is grab a big handful here. Now herbs you can stuff a little more in because there's a lot of wasted room in there. So go ahead and do that and chop up your herbs. See, we've got some nice cilantro cut up. And I mean, with your herbs, it's not as much of a worry as it is with your onions if you've got some bigger pieces. I've actually got some stuck to the side here, so I'm going to give it just a little more. Just like so. I'm going to scrape that out. You want to do it so you've got, you know, roughly 1 cup or half a cup if you're making a single batch, like most people. And I think I'm going to do just a little more because our family loves cilantro. Cilantro is kind of one of those herbs that either you love it or you hate it. For some people it's an acquired taste, but the initial reaction is either this is fantastic or oh my god, this tastes like soap. Our family loves the stuff. We think it's fantastic. And there we go. Just a little more than we had before. Now, this chopper is fantastic. You can see it's a mess, right? But all you got to do is unscrew the canister. You can pull off this top piece and it cleans up really, really easily in the sink, just with soap and water. Or it's actually, I don't know if the instructions say it's dishwasher safe, but I've been using mine for years and putting it in the top rack of the dishwasher to clean. Comes out clean, doesn't seem to damage anything. Definitely read your instructions though before you do something like that. Give our hands a quick wash. All right. So now we're going to move to the flavoring agents. And one of the main flavoring agents are limes. So I'm just going to give this lime a quick roll between my hands to loosen up the cells inside. And cut that in half. Now, the recipe usually calls for 2 tablespoons of lime juice. But because I'm doing a double batch, I'm going to do 4 tablespoons. And I'm going to grab my Pampered Chef citrus press. Now, the way you want to put this in here is skin side down, like so that the reamer can push the juice out. You can see it's really, really not hard to press down. And it gets everything, all the juice out of there. So we're going to go ahead and get our 4 tablespoons. Like, I can do this with one hand. It doesn't take both hands. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I don't need a citrus press because I just use a fork, you know, and twist it in there, or I have one of those old-fashioned deals where you do one of these, and those are great, except that if you use a fork and you happen to have an open cut on your hand, which happens sometimes in the kitchen and you don't notice, it's a nasty way to find out. And those old-fashioned ones tend to have a very, very shallow juice catch on them. So you pick it up and you spill some on the counter. Well, now you're wasting. This is an easy way to get all of your juice and basically keep your hands out of the way to avoid any unpleasantness. And I'm not sure we're gonna, I don't think we're gonna have enough there for 4 tablespoons. So I'm gonna do this next one. Now I'm using both hands. Most people will not have to, but I shake like it's my job. So if I want to get the juice in the bowl, it's pretty important for me to stabilize the press. All right, so I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. All right, so first thing we're going to do is add our 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'm going to grab a tablespoon measure here. I've actually got a Pampered Chef graduated measure like this one for tablespoon sizes in my consultant kit, but I haven't had a chance to open everything yet because I just recently got my kit. So we're going to go ahead and go in here with 1, 2, 3, and 4 tablespoons of lime juice. Now, this is what's great about these graduated measures. Right now I have this one set to 1 teaspoon. The actual call for a single batch is half a teaspoon of salt. Excuse me. But since we're doing a double batch, or I'm doing a double batch, I'm going to go ahead and scoop into my salt here and put in a full teaspoon, like so. Then it calls for 1/8 of a teaspoon freshly ground black pepper. Since I'm doing a double batch, I need a 1/4 teaspoon. So all I'm going to do is put my thumb on this little rigid pad here, and I'm going to slide this up to the 1/4 teaspoon mark. Ooh, you can tell this one's new. My old one wasn't this difficult. All right. 3/4, that's a half, and I need 1/4. Which is right there. So, 1 spoon, 2 uses. And when you get them, when you get these brand new, they're going to be a little stiff, but they'll work themselves out. Okay. So we'll put that in there. Now, some of you may be wondering why I seeded the tomatoes. If you leave the seeds and the pulp in, your pico is going to be like a soup. Pardon me, by the time you chop everything up and mix it together. If you seed the tomato, chop the meaty part of the tomato, put it in the bowl, and add salt, it'll help draw out the juices of the meat, and that will be enough to give you a nice, saucy enough but not soupy pico de gallo. So I'm just going to grab a spoon. Actually, instead of grabbing a spoon, grab one of my Pampered Chef spatulas. So I'm just going to give this a mix. You want to make sure that you get everything well mixed together so everything's distributed. Okay, now I'm going to give it a quick taste for seasoning, see if it needs anything more. That's good. That's really good. Alright, so I'm going to scrape down the sides here. Now, you can eat this right away and be delicious. But if you really, really want the flavors to kind of blend together and taste like more of a uniform kind of flavor, all you got to do is put this in a lid container. This is the lid that comes with the batter bowl. And I'm going to put this in the fridge for at least 3 to 4 hours, and even overnight would be fine. It keeps well in the fridge for up to 5 days. But I guarantee you, you start making this stuff at home, it's not going to last that long. So go ahead and try our Meatless Monday Pico de Gallo recipe. I hope you enjoy it. See you later.